And then a lot of the girls are then too scared to even have a go because the boys are taking the mick.
What's the point of doing it if I constantly have people think of me?
And I've seen people write comments which are quite detrimental or verging on misogynistic.
The boys calling girls like sluts and slags and stuff.
A group of male students wolf whistling a member of staff.
The use of sexualised language in a weaponised context has been increasing in schools nationwide. In a recent study carried out by the NEU, 66% of female students and 37% of male students in mixed-sex sixth forms have experienced or witnessed the use of sexist language in school. Only 14% of students who have experienced sexual harassment reported it to a teacher. Easton College is an agricultural educational institution based in Norfolk. We were invited in by them to investigate how this problem manifests in the agricultural sector.
Ofsted, who is our inspectorate, so they check in on us educators and make sure we're providing the education we should be. They did a very big report about sexual harassment in schools and colleges, and it was a fairly pivotal moment for us in the education sector because I think we then began to not only call it out, but look for it, to boot it out as well.
After speaking with Julia, it became clear that there was an issue that needed to be dealt with. Despite this, there seemed to be a lack of awareness within the college of sexualised language.
No, I wouldn't say there is an acceptance of it in the college.
In our course, we're pretty even with female and males.
We sort of just move around, do our job, take it in turns.
However, a select few were willing to share their experiences.
I would say that there is some groups, often because of maturity, some of the lower level groups, where some of those comments do creep in a bit in terms of what they consider as banter. Just sort of things that they probably heard and sort of mimicking other people, and they would make those comments.
People will make jokes like go back to the kitchen and stuff. And I think some people do it as a joke, but I think some people don't take it, and I think it depends who it's from, how close you are with them. But yeah, there is.
There are little remarks that you get as being a girl in farming in the industry, as it is a new thing.
So what has caused this problem? There were some differing accounts as to what the core of the issue actually is.
In Norfolk, a lot of our environments are very small companies. You might only have 2 or 3 people. So have you got an HR system? Probably not. And it's only usually when you have an HR system that you have a code of conduct, you follow the professional standards, whatever they are for your organisation.
Social media is possibly one of those that doesn't help. Potentially, because often they'll see something that they'll pick up and then sort of run with it. But often I think it's a little bit more multifaceted than that. It could be their home lives, their school lives. What we've got to remember is, especially now, students coming into college over the last couple of years have gone through quite an unusual time in terms of pandemic, lockdowns. So I don't think they've had that same socialisation and challenging of those perceptions.
Some of the challenges we may be faced with today, they're historic practices, because practical agriculture was not really a place that women set out to work in. And those that did carve a niche and have created a wonderful pathway for others to join them. So I think a lot of it goes back to historic ways of doing things. We now have feed in 20 kilo bags. 30 years ago it was common to find feed coming in 50 kilo bags, which were struggle for most people to work with. So that the heavy manual aspects of agriculture perhaps have kept it to be a fairly male dominated industry. But as we find new ways of doing things and new ways of approaching things, we actually, those barriers have come down, and women are creating more opportunities, and actually there's more opportunities opening up for them because of the unique skills they bring to the industry, which are really, really important.
It depends on like your granddads and their dads and their dads, and where you come from as well, like what schools you go to and the friends you hang around with, and I think that plays a big role in what you think.
People just say it as it's sort of like the norm. I know that sounds like quite weird and like quite wrong, but that's just how it is, really.
The implications that sexualised language has on a person can vary between environments.
I think it's a bit frustrating because, like with the tractor driving, they'll go like, "Oh, you're a woman driver, so you can't do it." So like that gets a bit frustrating because like even though you could be like better than some of them, it will make no difference.
But at the end of the day, it is someone's life, and they spend a lot of time doing that job and not a lot of time to do anything else. Whereas people who do an office job or whatever can go home and forget about things. But if you run that business, you've got to be there, especially with livestock. It's not really any time off really.
Those people that are working, like you said, in an isolated fashion, both in terms of it could be a family farm, quite a small establishment perhaps where they don't see many other people. I don't think that's necessarily healthy for, people to grow up and learn different sort of views and opinions and be able to form their own kind of views of things.
It becomes more serious when someone, like a girl, tries and does a practical or drives a tractor, and then they get really into it, but then they stopped and come drifting away and not wanting to do it anymore because they are scared that they're going to be told off that they can't do it.
When asking the students and faculty what they thought about how to solve the problem, several of them suggested various ideas.
The land-based sectors, and agriculture in particular, are going through seismic change at the moment. It is revolutionary. From regenerative farming, environmental issues, their sector is they look after 75% of our land in the UK. They're a very minority sector in lots of ways. And actually, if we cannot all work together with them to help them understand how to be as good as they can be, there will be many of those jobs and communities which will fold, basically. And if those groups of industries were more diverse in their approach, they would find the answers that they need for the future.
Things that don't get mentioned, don't get dealt with, and I think this is a really positive step that we're actually raising this awareness now. And actually, it may be every one of us here at the college, and certainly in land-based and certainly in agriculture, we can go out and actually start, not looking for problems, but actually going out and encouraging people, getting them to think what they say, getting them to think a bit wider, and actually doing some very subtle proactive steps. And I think one of those is actually promoting the sector as a career choice, a valuable career choice that's open to anyone that chooses to come and work here.
Promoting it more, trying to get more and more people into agriculture, because it's not a job that's going to disappear. We're always going to need agriculture. Everyone still needs food.
I think there could be more of a platform of women farming and make it a bigger thing and show men that women can farm and that it's basically the same, there's nothing different, just a different gender.
We also visited a local organic farming organisation, Norwich Farm Share, for their take and possible solutions on the issue in the agricultural sector at large.
Norwich Farm Share is a community-led vegetable growing operation. Being an open farm does help with the issue of sexism in agriculture. We are making it very clear that women are welcome here, that it's a place where women should feel comfortable, and I think do feel comfortable. I've never come across anyone in our organisation or community that disagrees with that, and I guess there might be people that might say, well, that's none of our business, we shouldn't be doing that. And until someone does, I'm going to carry on using Norwich Farm Share as a way to kind of spread that idea of equality and empowerment of whether it's women or people from ethnic minorities or whatever the issue is, trying to make the farm as diverse as possible so it reflects the makeup of society.
It makes me feel amazing being here. I really I don't know what I'd do without this place, because everybody is welcome, no matter how much you have to contribute.
They have made it really explicit that it's inclusive. It's a very important facet of the farm.
I think there's lots of ways that we can inspire more women to enter agriculture. I think it's up to individual farmers to be more vocal about the fact that they want things to change. There could be more stuff in schools about or using examples of female role models who are in farming.
We took Joel's advice and decided to set up a panel introducing the students of Easton to 3 inspirational ladies in agriculture.
There is a fine line between when it's harassment and when it's bullying. And there were times when I did have to say to the chaps, you know, hang on, if this was any other industry, could have probably had you all done for harassment of some kind in this case.
There is more infighting in agriculture across different barriers, whether it be gender, whether it be age, whether it be farming systems.
I announced at the age of 11 that I wanted to be a farmer. And my mum and dad sat me down and they said, really? What do you want to do that for? And they tried everything they could to steer me off a career in agriculture, mainly because my dad said it's a male-dominated industry, you can't lift things, you're weak, you don't talk up for yourself. And I think because I was determined and wanted to, that was what got me to where I am.
If you are a male in the industry, then just talk about it. Ask your sister, ask your mum, ask your friends how they feel in those kind of situations, just so you can gauge what is appropriate and what isn't appropriate.
Get the good message out there. You know, it's down to all of us, not just individuals, not just certain people, but every single one of us in this room and beyond this room as well.
Be kind, respect what they do, and actually just work together. If we can talk together, we can work together, we can shout about how great our industry is. And that's the one thing that's going to, put us in a really good position as individuals for a really good career path, but also as an industry to keep our industry really flourishing and growing.
We spoke to a student who was extremely inspired by the panel.
It was quite inspirational hearing about what they think, because having them all from different backgrounds, working in the industry, different parts, really made me think of the course I want to take in the industry. And with the men in agriculture, it shows that I shouldn't really care and I don't have to care. I should just get on with it and show the men that I can do it and not really care about it. It was quite amazing about the different things they'd had as well said to them and what they'd done about it, and all the roles in agriculture was quite inspiring. It makes me more keen about farming now, and I was a bit set back by things being said, but it shows me now that I can actually do it and that I should do it and persevere with it.
Although there is still a way to go until we eradicate this issue, as long as everyone can work together and respect what others bring to the table, we will be on our way to a brighter future for agriculture.